it's a job like a long ass drive for real. Got to pick up some mail. Let's talk about getting these high limits. Let's talk about getting these high limits without getting a whole lot of hard increase. I was able to go from like having $15,000 in available credit to, I would say, over $200,000 in available credit in like 12 months. And a lot of it came from my existing accounts, being able to grow my current credit limits. So if you feel like you're stuck at like $1,000 or $2,000 or even a $5,000 credit limit, listen up, because this is how, like, one of my credit cards I got when I was like in college. It was a $500 Capital One Credit Journey credit card. That was like my first credit card really ever. From there, that $500 Capital One credit card has turned into 3 credit cards with Capital One and about $30,000 in access to credit just with Capital One. And it just came from understanding how credit limits work and how requesting a credit limit works. And there's no one size fit all. Every bank is a little different, but I'm going to give y'all the basic blueprint, and we're going to talk about some specifics for each bank and how their credit limits work so that you can avoid hard pulls while you're growing your credit. So if you currently have a low credit limit, or you're trapped or stuck at a particular credit limit, even if you have a higher credit limit, right? Let's say you're stuck at like even a $15,000 credit limit and you're trying to figure out how to bump it up higher. What we want to start using is a process called credit cycling. Credit cycling is really easy. It's when you max out and pay off your existing credit card multiple times a month. Very easy strategy. Now, give you a real life example using real numbers, because it'll make it a little easier to understand. So let's say you got a $2,000 credit card right now. You got a $2,000 credit card right now, and your monthly expenses total $5,000, right? What you're going to start doing is you're going to start using your $2,000 credit card for all of your monthly expenses. I'm talking about if you can pay your mortgage or your rent using your credit card, do that. If you can pay your all of your utilities, gas, electric, the maintenance on your car, paying for gas, right? Any and every bill that it makes sense to pay for using your credit card, use your credit card. Because these are the same, we call it organic spend. These are the same expenses that you were paying with your bank account or with your debit card. Only thing you're doing now is using your credit card. This is what's going to happen. Since you know that your bills total $5,000 a month, but your credit card is only $2,000, you're going to have to keep paying off your credit card. You're going to end up paying off your credit card about 2.5 times over the course of 30 days. The banks are going to see that. The banks are going to see that you're using this credit card, maxing it out, but then you're paying it off in full at least twice a month. That's going to trigger what we call an automatic credit limit increase. Because not only are you showing them that you can handle the current credit limit, you're also showing them that it's not enough because you're paying it off. What's going on? That is not enough. What up? That is not enough for your organic routine spending. So what's going to happen, and probably about, I would say you want to keep doing this for about 90 days. Right? Depending on the bank. Each bank is a little different. But in about 90 days, they're going to give you a credit limit increase. Typically, the credit limit increase, let's say if we're just using the credit cycle method, is going to be a little bit more than what you're currently spending on a credit card. So in this example, you're spending about $5,000 a month. They'll probably bump you up to like $6,000 or $7,000 from a $2,000 credit limit. That's how you can start getting these automatic credit limit increases and automatically giving yourself more access to capital without doing anything really special. You're not submitting any new applications. There are no new hard pulls on your credit. You don't even have to open up any new accounts. You didn't even have to call in to request a credit limit increase. They're just giving you this increase because they see that you know how to use your credit card. Now, what if you have multiple credit cards? No problem. Cycle through each credit card. Decide on what one credit card you want to use for the next 3 months to put all of your routine spend on. Choose that credit card, run all of your routine spend through that credit card. Like I said, as much as you can, right? And pay it off in full multiple times throughout the month, not just once a month. We're talking about pay it off in full maybe 2 or 3 times a month. This will trigger an automatic credit limit increase. Now, what if you try this with a particular bank, because every bank is a little different, and you don't get a credit limit increase, or you don't get as much of an increase as you hope for? When this happens, because like for instance, Capital One, they're pretty stingy. They will give you automatic limits, but it may not be as much as you want. Depending on the bank, you can make a request for a credit limit increase. Now, each bank is a little different. Some will do a hard pull, some will do a soft pull. As a general rule, we don't want to do any hard pulls just for a credit limit increase. That's the worst idea. Never do that.
In 1 mile, keep left.
So instead, what you're going to do is apply for a credit limit increase through the app, whatever app you got. If it's Capital One, Navy Federal, your Amex, Discover, whoever. Apply through the app. 99% of the time when you ask for a credit limit increase through your app, there's no hard pull. Now, when you ask for a credit limit increase, let's say you're not that great with the app and you decide to call. Some banks, like Navy Federal, they will actually do a hard pull if you call in and ask them for a credit limit increase. All right, Lost, I'm back.
Keep left.
So let's go into some of the credit limit approvals and like how often for some banks. Let's start. I spoke about Capital One. So Capital One, they don't necessarily have a hard, fast rule of how often you can apply for a credit limit increase. So with them, if you're using their credit card every month and you're paying it off in full every month, you can ask for a credit limit increase monthly. Because with them, it's always a soft pull. Even if you call, they'll just tell you to go into the app and do a credit limit increase on the app. It's always a soft pull. How much they give you is going to range. I've gotten $1,000 credit limit increase. In other times, I've gotten like a $5,000 to $6,000 credit limit increase. With Capital One, it's also important that you update your income. That's going to be one of the things they ask you when determining your credit limit increase. So every time your income goes up, if you're working a part-time or if you're living with someone and that person got a raise or you got a raise, you want to update that income so that they can take that into consideration. If your income has gone up, $15,000, $20,000 over the course of a year, let them know that. That will help you get a higher limit. I did that, updated. At first I was telling them, I was making like 75 a year, and they would give me like $1,000 or $2,000 increase. I updated my income because I was, a full-time or part-time, had a side hustle, and I was like, I'm at 105. They started giving me bigger credit limit increases, like 5,000-6,000. Still not a whole lot, but it helps. And I would just do that as much as possible with Capital One specifically. With Chase, I had when I started with Chase, I had a $5,000 credit card. I grew my relationship with Chase to get access to over $40,000 with Chase. Very similar, same thing. I use this card all the time, like for every damn thing. It was my Chase Freedom card. Had 0 interest for 12 months when I first got it, and I would just burn that joint up. I would use it, pay it off in full. Now, right now, Chase allows you to do a credit limit increase through the app with no hard pull. Back when I got it, back in 2018, it was a hard pull to get a credit limit increase. So I didn't do a credit limit increase with them for a long ass time. I would only get a credit limit increase with them through automatic, just through my spend. But now with Chase, they updated their policy to where on their business and on their personal credit cards, their credit limit increase is a soft pull when you do it through the app. Another thing I like about Chase in their app now is if you go into your Chase app, go to your credit journey section where it tracks your credit and everything, click on offers. In the offers section, is actually going to show you all the credit cards that you're already pre-qualified for. And it's going to give you the exact credit card. It's going to say Chase Sapphire Reserve, Chase Sapphire Preferred. It's going to say, you know, the Freedom Unlimited or the Slate card, whatever. Not only is it going to tell you that you're pre-approved, what's super saucy about this is that it's going to tell you what credit limit you're going to get. Off rip. They already tell you the card to get and what your credit limit is going to be on that credit card without you having to even apply. Now, if you decide to go for it, of course it's going to be a hard pull, but it's still sweet to know exactly what cards you're approved for and what limit they're going to give you. With Chase, when you're in their ecosystem now, you can apply for a credit limit as often as you want. I would say do it every 30 days if you want to. Right now, they don't penalize you for asking for repeat credit limit increases. They'll also let you know in the app if you qualify for a credit limit increase. They eliminate all the guesswork. That's what I really like about the Chase app now. No hard pull, no guesswork. I'll tell you right then and there if you qualify and how much you qualify for. Now, let's say you're with Navy Federal. Navy Federal is one of those tricky type of banks to where, depending on how you ask for the credit limit increase, will determine whether or not it's a hard pull. Remember, for everybody that just came in, welcome. When we're going for funding and we're using our current accounts, right? We're not applying for any new credit yet. We're still growing our current limits. You only want to do soft pulls. Only a soft pull credit limit increase. You don't want any hard pull credit limit increase. None. Because it's a waste of a hard pull for you. So you want to avoid it. This is where it gets tricky with Navy Federal. Because if you decide to call Navy Federal and ask them for a credit limit increase over the phone, it's going to be a hard pull. It's going to be a hard pull. If now with Navy Federal, here's the thing. Every 3 months or 91 days, specifically with Navy Federal, every 91 days, you can ask for an $8,000 credit limit increase. So if you currently only have a $2,000 credit card with Navy, you can bump it up to 10. In 3 months, bump it up to 18. In 3 months, bump it up to 26. So you see how quickly you can start leveling up your credit limits just by understanding how each bank's credit increase rules apply. So with Navy Federal, don't call in, it's going to be a hard pull. What you'll want to do is log on to your Navy Federal account, whether it's through the website or the app. Each one is going to look a little different, and you're going to want to look at your pre-approval or pre-qualify offers. You'll click that button and it'll let you know if you qualify for a credit limit increase. You can also go to your credit card account with Navy Federal and request a credit limit increase when you're logged in on the website or through the app. These pre-approved or pre-qualified credit limit increases on your current credit card are not hard pulls. They're going to all be soft pulls. All right. So when you're talking to your friends and they're like, yo, I applied for a Navy Federal credit limit increase, it was a hard pull. It's like, damn, you did it over the phone, didn't you? Yeah, next time just do it through the app. It'll be a soft pull. I had to tell one of my clients that they wasted a hard pull on a $5,000 credit limit increase. You don't want to waste a hard pull on a $5,000 credit limit increase. It's absolutely not worth it. I've wasted a hard pull on a credit limit increase before because I didn't know any better. Let's talk about Amex, right? Those of us that have Amex, you're in the Amex ecosystem. Amex has what I call the 3x3 rule. You can triple your credit limit every 3 months. Now, this is how I personally 10x my credit limit on one of my credit cards, on my everyday preferred. So when I first got with Amex, I had the everyday card. I don't think it exists anymore, but I had the everyday card, and they gave me a little $2,000 limit, 0 interest for 12 months. I wasn't tripping because at that time I knew about the 3x3 rule. So, you know, same thing I'm sharing with y'all now. It was a $2,000 credit card. My monthly expenses were like $5,000.
In 1 mile.
So what happened was I just used the card. Just used the card every day. Ran it up, paid it off. Ran it up, paid it off in full multiple times a month. Doing that, it went from $2,000 to $6,000. It sat there for a while. They gave me a little bit of a bump. Went up to $7,500. And then I didn't ask for a credit limit increase for a long ass time. I mean, like probably a year or two. Probably like a year or two. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if this 3x3 rule still applies. I'm at $7,500.
Exit right.
I'm at $7,500. Let me go ahead and ask for a 3x my credit limit, which at that was like $22,000, something like that. I asked for it, I requested it, boom, they gave it to me. So I turned, over the course of time, couple of years, I turned a $2,000 credit card into a $22,500 credit card. No hard pull whatsoever. And that's simply by nurturing the accounts that I already have. You don't have to run out and get a whole bunch of new credit. You could take the same exact credit cards that you currently have and just use them properly. You could easily 10x every credit card you have. Let's say over the course of 12 to 18 months, you 10x your access to capital with no hard pull whatsoever and without having to open up any new accounts. This is a great strategy, especially if you're already in these banks that I mentioned, because it saves your credit report. It saves you all the hard inquiries, right? You're not getting dinged for any hard inquiries. You're not getting dinged for any new accounts being open. And it keeps you in position to take advantage of like Chase's 524 rule or Bank of America's 312 rule, right? Where they're tracking how many accounts you're opening on an annual basis. So Amex, the 3x3 rule, 3x your credit limit every 3 months. To be specific, It's every 91 days. Every 91 days. Okay? These are just some of the rules out here that apply when we're talking about credit limit increases. Now, if you have a different bank or a different credit union, what you can do, you can always call your bank directly and ask them about their credit limits. Like, hey, is it going to be a hard pull if I do a credit limit over the phone, a credit limit increase over the phone? Or do I need to go through the app? They should be able to tell you. I haven't had a bank or a person, bank rep over the phone, not know whether or not it's going to be a hard pull. If the person tells you they don't know, then just hang up and call back, or ask them to speak to somebody that would know. You know what I'm saying? Because, I don't know why they wouldn't know. It's a pretty easy question. Another reason I like this particular strategy is because it's super easy. You don't have to worry about who the bank pulls from. You don't have to worry about any type of funding sequence. You're just using your current credit card just like you normally do and just asking them for the increase. All right? I even start, a trick I started doing was I started scheduling them out. I started putting it on my calendar. Okay, cool. Navy Federal, I can ask, every 3 months for $8,000. I just put it on the calendar. Boom. Amex, every 3 months, I can ask for triple my credit limit. Let me put that on the calendar. Boom. Chase, Navy, not Navy. Chase and Capital One, I can do it whenever I feel like. It could be once a month. It could be once every 2 months. It doesn't matter. I put that on my calendar. Boom. So literally every single year, my credit limits are increasing, whether it's because I'm doing credit cycling or whether it's because I'm just doing soft pull credit limit increases. This way you're consistently getting access to more capital, and you're consistently getting access to more capital without any damage to your credit profile. So this is really good. Also, if you're in, let's say you have a couple of negatives, you're going through credit repair, and they tell you, don't get any new hard pulls on your credit. And you're sitting there wondering, well, how can I get more credit if I can't get any hard pulls? You can use credit limit increases because they're not checking your credit. There's no hard pull for this. So it's a great way to continue to grow your credit while it's going under repair. Let's see. Somebody said Mustafa was good. J Mastermind. After I added multiple trade lines to my file. That's great. Is that some kind of glitch? Nope. Because how much you're approved for is always based on the total, everything that's on your credit profile. So they're looking at how much you make. They're doing comparable credit. So comparable credit is the banks are going to look at what's already on your credit report. If you already have high limits, then other banks are going to give you high limits. So like for instance, I offer my clients primary trade lines. We have primary trade lines between $30,000 and $80,000. These show up as installment loans. So if a person is going for other installment loans, having the installment loans as primaries already on the credit report helps show that they are responsible, because the installment loans show up with 2 to 4 years of history, paid on time. They're either going to show up as open or closed. But this is going to help build up your comparables, because now it's like, okay, this person is responsible. They can handle a $60,000 auto loan or a $40,000 personal loan. It doesn't look crazy. Right? So these type of things can help you build up your profile. Cool. I had no credit card before that happened. That's awesome. Fantastic. Congratulations. right? So these are ways that you can continue to build up your profile. These are ways you could continue. My bad, I'm driving. Hold on, something crazy happening. These are just different ways you could continue to build up your profile, right? So congrats Jay, on being able to get a 19K approval by adding trade lines. That's dope. That's dope, right? Again, it doesn't always work out like that. Everyone's profile is totally different. What lender you went to, what trade line you added, all of those things come into play. It's never going to be a one size fit all, because you can add trade lines to a negative profile and it doesn't have any impact. What do I mean by negative profile? I mean a profile where the person just has a lot of negatives. They have 20, 30 different negative accounts. One or two trade lines won't make much of a difference. But let's say you don't have any trade lines. Adding trade lines can make a huge difference, because now you're building up a strong profile, as opposed to somebody who has 20 or 30 negative accounts and they may have thrown on, 5 positive trade lines. They still got to delete those 20 to 30 negative accounts before they can see a $19,000 approval. So that's fire. That's fire that you were able to do that. Right? So these are different ways to keep building up your credit. I'm gonna recap really quick. Let's talk about some of these ways to keep building up your credit, get access to more capital without any type of hard pull. The first way we want to do is called credit cycling. All credit cycling is if you're stuck at a particular limit on your credit card, whether it's $1,000 or $20,000, what you want to start doing is you want to start maxing out that credit card and then paying it off in full multiple times a month. Not just once a month, multiple times a month. Easy example, let's say you got a $2,000 credit card and your monthly expenses are like $5,000 a month, right? You're going to start using this $2,000 credit card for all of your living expenses, all of them. If you can pay rent, if you can pay your mortgage with your credit card and it makes sense financially, do it. Service your car using your credit card. Get gas. Pay for the kids' daycare. Pay for the kids' school. Pay for, food, shelter, water, your utilities. Pay for everything with this $2,000 credit card. Why? Because your bills are more than $2,000. So what that's going to force you to do is it's going to force you to have to pay off this credit card multiple times a month. You're going to have to literally max out this credit card and pay it off in full about 2.5 times a month. The banks are going to see this. They're going to say, oh, they're maxing out this credit card and paying it off twice a month. Okay, cool. And not only are they paying it off, multiple times a month, they're not doing any unusual spending. They're just living their life using the card. So clearly they need more credit. Since they see you're spending about $5,000 a month, the credit limit increase is going to be a little bit more than what you're spending. So they may give you like another $5,000, right? Which pushes you up to 7 now. This is all automatic. You don't have to call nobody. You don't have to speak to nobody. You don't have to log into the app. You're simply using a credit card in a way that the banks like to see. I'm gonna go this way. You're simply using a credit card in a way that the banks like to see you use the credit card. Not a problem. That's going to be an automatic increase. Now, how much? The great thing about automatic increase is a soft pull. But what if they don't give you an automatic increase? Or the automatic increase is less than what you were hoping for. Because that does happen. Every bank is a little different, and they base it on different things. How much are you spending? Is your credit score going up? Is your credit score going down? But let's say you only got, you don't get as much as you was hoping for. What you can do is then manually request a credit limit increase. With a manual request for a credit limit increase, you want to make sure it's a soft pull. You don't want to do any hard pulls just for a credit limit increase. You want to make sure it is a soft pull. How do we do that? Now, what we want to do is, general rule of thumb, is just make the request through the app. Like 99% of requests through the app are going to be a soft pull. 99%. The other thing you can do is, if you're still unsure, or if you don't see it on your bank's app, on your bank's website, give them a call. Call them and ask them, hey, can I do a credit limit increase? And is this credit limit increase going to be a soft pull? They'll tell you yes or no. If the person you're talking to doesn't know, ask to speak to someone else. That easy. Just ask to speak to someone else who might know. Speak to a supervisor, or speak to their credit card department, whoever else may know. All right. This is important because certain banks may or may not have a hard pull, depending on how you ask for.
The next 0.5 miles.
In about a quarter of a mile, exit right.
All right, I gotta get off this highway. Some banks may or may not do a hard pull, depending on how you request the credit limit increase, right? So in this instance, let's talk about Navy Federal. With Navy Federal,
in about exit right. In a quarter of a mile.
This joint going crazy.
Right.
With Navy Federal, you can ask for a credit limit increase through your app or through the website. It will be a soft pull.
Exit right.
If you decide that you want to
turn left.
If you decide that you want to do a credit limit increase over the phone,
in a quarter of a mile,
it's going to be a hard
turn
pull.
Left.
Man, the GPS taking over now, right? It'll be a hard pull if you decide to do this over the phone. So specifically with Navy Federal, only ask for your credit limit increases through the app or through the website. With Navy Federal,
turn left.
I recommend requesting a credit limit increase every 3 to 6 months. Every 3 to 6 months, you can ask for an $8,000 credit limit increase with Navy. Bare minimum, you want to wait 91 days. Okay. Navy Federal also does automatic credit limit increases when you use the credit cycling technique. But if they don't give you enough or a lot, then ask for an $8,000 credit limit increase every 3 months. Well, every 91 days. Let's talk about Chase. Now, back in the day, up until 2020, Chase would actually do a hard pull to get a credit limit increase. They would either do an automatic credit limit increase, or it would be a hard pull if you requested a credit limit increase. As of 2022, they changed that. Now it's a soft pull, period. You can go directly into your Chase app and request a credit limit increase on your personal credit cards. It'll tell you if you're approved or not right on the app instantly. You can do that whenever you want. I say with Chase, they don't really have a rule on how often. They're always checking your credit profile anyway. So you can do it once a month. Let's talk about Amex. With Amex, you can do it. You can do it. They have the 3x3 rule. That's what I call it. I call it the 3x3 rule. Every 3 months, you can ask Amex to triple your credit limit. This is a soft pull. Doesn't matter with Amex, doesn't matter how you request it. You can request it over the phone, through the app, through their customer service chat. You can ask for triple your credit limit every 3 months, specifically every 91 days, right? They have that. Citibank, you can request a credit limit through their app. It's a soft pull. I didn't mention Citibank earlier, but now I'm just remembering. You can request, they do automatic credit limit increases as well, and you can request a credit limit increase through the app. Their credit limit increase on new credit limit. You don't even have to wait 24 hours. With Citibank, I had what I got? The American Airline Platinum card.
Turn right.
American Airline Platinum card. I had it, I think I may only had it for like 4 months or something like that. They first gave it to me, I was at 6,000. Then they did an auto increase to 8,600. And then when I requested a credit limit increase through the app, they bumped me up to like 16,000 and some change. All soft pull, didn't have to open up any new credit lines whatsoever, right? So literally doubled my available credit just by requesting it.
In a quarter of a mile.
Right? So these are the type of things that we talk about all the time in my community, the capital growth community, where I help and teach you exactly how to get access to capital, regardless of your situation. If you're a small business owner, you're thinking about your business, you're trying to get access to larger lines of credit, but you don't know how, or you're currently bucketed with all of these smaller credit lines, right? You don't even have a $10,000 credit limit yet, but you're trying to figure out how to grow it. These are just some of the topics that we speak about within the Capital Insider community. If you're interested in joining right now, I actually have it set up. So even if you want to join using Klarna, you could do that. Or if you want to set up like a monthly payment, you could do that as well. All you have to do is just reach out to me on Instagram. On Instagram, my handle is the same as YouTube. It's the Credit Protector. Reach out to me and just let me know that you want to join the community, right? Capital Growth Insiders, or CGI community. Just shoot me a DM. Let me know you're interested in getting into the community, and I'll send you the link to get access. All right, I'm out of here, y'all. If you like this, just let me know. Leave a comment, share this out with others. Also share out the replay, and remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.